Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms, and I'm joined here by superfans Heath Goldman and Devin Circus and Jake Circus of the Jake Circus podcast, and this is the Week 16 preview show. That's right, rub your dad's head for
Today,
on, do it just like you do the Buddha. Come on. Before I do anything, first of all, I apologize for my voice. I've got a chest cold and I'm dealing with it. The let's if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. It's all we ask. Just support the channel, give us the thumbs up. And Jake does some amazing podcasts. So Jake, tell them where they can find your stuff.
Yep, Jake Circus podcast, Spotify and YouTube. We're on a little bit of a hiatus for the holidays, but we'll be back for the playoffs. I give up Buffalo, right? That's a winner. It's 2 weeks in a
Yes,
row.
that
Had
was a
Dallas
big
2 weeks
winner.
ago and Buffalo. We'll be back with another one this week.
I'm
you
still
hate
looking.
Buffalo.
No, I like them
He
now.
changed his mind now.
I like them
Yes,
now. When
I like
everyone
them.
started to hate them, then I decided to like them again, and it's working out.
There you go. As
Buffalo-
long as you make money. I'm still trying to figure out how I lost Jacksonville second half money line and the over on Monday night when the NFL did not give Jacksonville that touchdown, because that was the net effect. In addition to the prop bets and everything else, ass in the end zone, touchdown.
And Jake's fantasy matchup, he lost on that.
So, but that drove me nuts. So I guess you have to be on their they have to bet the same way for them to know, give us that touchdown. So, all right, let's get started on this one. Recent news, and I don't know anything about this guy. We just claimed Travis Bell off waivers. What do we know about him, Jake?
He's now on the Bengals.
Yeah, well, he's seventh round pick. He played 2 games for Atlanta. They cut him last week, 30 total snaps. That's all I have. We had missed out on somebody earlier in the week that we were trying to claim.
That Tart guy.
Yeah,
He's a middle of the D-line guy, run stopper.
Yeah. So we'll start right there. I mean, no Raider, no Chase going into this game. Reader's good. I think we could survive without Chase for a game. Reader, obviously, the Steelers are going to want to run the ball. Would have been nice to have him for this game and the rest of the year. So that's going to hurt.
Although I will say the second half looked pretty good last week. Even when he went out, our defensive line definitely came to play in that second half, and they definitely stepped up. So we'll see.
No, they definitely did. And look, the game was won in overtime with the stop on 3rd and short and 4th and inches. So kudos to, the next man up theory. Hopefully can do it again. Pittsburgh's got 2 bruising running backs that they use really well. Najee is, not the first rounder that they thought he was going to be, but he's a big bruising back. And Jalen Warren's a good back too. Look, it's Pittsburgh. It's going to be an ugly game. You don't even have any thoughts of anything other than just an ugly, ugly game with a 3rd-string quarterback against a backup quarterback. Both teams are banged up. The big one that jumped out is me, not to jump right into injuries, but I don't know anything on Minkah Fitzpatrick, but he didn't practice yesterday or today. Do you know anything on Minkah?
They said he was. I didn't even think he was close to.
Oh, he is out.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
out,
I
and
thought.
the
Yeah,
other
I
guy's
heard.
suspended.
So they're down. They're down Minkah. They're down the cornerback that's suspended, Kinsey, which, by the way, I don't know if you saw that hit on Michael Pittman on Saturday. It was awful, like justified suspension.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was no surprise. I had a feeling he'd be suspended. I
will say. I will make one comment, and I've been saying it all year. Miles Murphy is finally coming to play, right, Jake?
Yes.
Yeah, he's been very good. He's been fun to watch.
And he'll get more time now.
21 years old. 21.
So, we have this history with the Steelers. So even though the fact that the Steelers are on the downside, coming off, I mean, come on, let's look at their last 3 games. They lost to 2-10 teams at home, and then went on the road and looked absolutely, after jumping out to a 13-0 lead, looked just putrid for the rest of the game. So
it made us look like amateur hours last game. So let's just be careful what we
Well, I'm just saying. So my fear is that they're going to rebound. They'll get up for this game, and the line shows it. We're only a 2-point favorite. Gamblers are thinking the same thing. So
yeah, I made the comment last week that we probably wanted Indianapolis to lose for playoff standing. Arguably, I don't know. But I was rooting for Indy to beat Pittsburgh to kind of start to suck the life out of them. They're not far from packing it in for the season. They're not there yet. And I go back to the Monday Night Football game that Ryan Finley won, which started this whole run. We need a Von Bell on Juju Smith-Schuster type play in the first quarter, early on in the game, to punch him in the mouth and just take the life out of them, because they're really, really close to being absolutely done. And I really think we need to smack them in the mouth. Maybe it's on offense, maybe it's on defense. I don't know. But we got to come out and make a statement early and take control of the game, because if we can, we take all the Pittsburgh, Cincinnati history out of it. We need to reduce the Steelers to nothing more than the miserable, crummy team that they are, because they're awful.
Yeah. Their two wide receivers have basically quit on them. I'm afraid that they tried after, was it Pickens this week that took a lot of heat for not blocking and doing
Pickens never blocks.
No, I was going to say that.
Pickens is the type of guy Pickens is going to be out of the league in 4 years. If his attitude is awful.
Yeah. I go back to, I don't remember who they were playing, when there was a whole big thing that Dante Johnson, who had a nice year last year, nothing great, missed the first couple games of the season to injury, scored his first touchdown in over a year in like week 8 or 9. It was on Sunday night or Monday night, and it was a whole thing. Everybody was so excited. He was very, not emotional, but excited right when he caught it. Linemen are running over, and Pickens, who is on the other side of the field, you actually see him in frame just like staring and like, that should have been me. That should have been my pass. And he was pouting the whole game. That was the game that Pickens couldn't drag his feet on a touchdown that he should have had. And the Titans game. Pickens is just trash.
Yeah. They have this incredible ability to take receivers and make them think that they're better than who they are. And some of these guys are not like first round divas, but they seem to acquire that attribute when they're on the Steelers. You look at Chase Claypool. I mean, you just go through, going all the way back to Antonio Brown. I don't know what it is with that locker room.
Juju too. Juju had one good year with Antonio Brown. Thought he was hot shit. And then when he hit free agency, no one wanted to sign him. He had to go to the Chiefs on a 1-year deal.
Throw Chase Claypool in there too. He had a great rookie year and then nothing. You know what it is? It's the goddamn Joey Porter mindset.
Yeah.
Garbage.
That's what it is.
You can even look at Mike Wallace too. Mike Wallace was never the same after he left Pittsburgh. Martavis Bryant battled through multiple suspensions. I don't know.
Plaxico.
No, it's
one thing,
very strange history with and they do find talent in the later rounds, but somehow they don't develop it. They destroy it. They turn it into the evil receiver. I don't get it. It's and it's happened more than once, so it's not like we're just grabbing at one event. So
I have not been on the show since with Jake. I've been on them with Devin, I think, but Jake since JB2 started to play decent football. JB.
Who's JB2? You talking about Jordan Battle?
No, JB1 is Joe Burrow. JB2 is Jake Browning.
Oh, he's JB6.
JB6 and JB.
I know what his number is, but he's this.
But that's what you're making up a name. They call him JB6.
Oh, okay, fine. I'm calling him JB2 today. So now you know who I'm talking about. But it's I'm curious what your thoughts are. I mean, without Chase now, we've definitely schemed very well. I'm curious what Jake's thoughts are in terms of what's going to have to be and who's going to step. I mean, let's be honest. Higgins didn't play anything last game until the fourth quarter, and maybe even the second half of the fourth quarter. And then he stepped up. So I got to assume he's won. What do you see, Jake?
Yeah, it's not really like a situation where Chase has just been force fed because there's been no one else that's been producing over the last couple of weeks. So look, the attention that Jamar Chase gets is not going to be there, obviously, which is going to hurt. But the Bengals have to run the ball, and they've ran the ball a great deal the last couple of weeks. They went much heavier up front. That's why you see guys like Mitchell Wilcox and Drew Sample actually catching passes, because they're able to run some play action out of heavy sets, which has kind of felt like that missing piece with the Burrow offense, because Burrow's like, no, I don't want to go heavy. 5 offensive linemen, a tight end, empty. Like that's been the Burrow offense. And now that with Browning, after the Steelers game, they were able to kind of get some time and revamp and kind of figure out, okay, we don't have Joe Burrow who's able to throw guys open. Instead, we have to scheme guys open, which I've said for 3 years that Zach Taylor hasn't shown that he's been able to do, even going back to the year with Dalton and Finley and that stuff. But they have to run the ball. They've been doing a great job of it recently, going heavier, lots of play action. And we say it every week, there's been stuff that they are doing right now that will carry over to when Joe Burrow is back and will make the offense better. So
Yeah, I agree.
it's unfortunate that, there's no Chase. Obviously, the offense arguably flourished last year without him. Obviously, that was with Burrow, and T. Higgins was amazing those 3-4 games leading into early December without Jamar. It's a little bit different this year. They're going to have to control clock, play some defense. It's not a flashy offense in Pittsburgh by any stretch.
Yeah.
But I think that they'll be able to manage without Jamar. Because again, like if you look at his target shares, he's not getting 12, 13, 14 targets a game in this type of offense. It's a lot of short stuff. And when you need a first down, it's gonna suck not having him there. But in terms of down-to-down stuff, I've liked a lot of the stuff that they've been doing, going heavy, running some play action, and running the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to your
we've
point,
been talking
Chase
about for years is we've never play action with Burrow, and they've done a lot with Browning. They're under center more. Burrow likes it in the shotgun, and they've done a lot under center under Browning, and it's been working.
Yeah. So
and we haven't, like I said, we haven't been on the show together. I mean, Chase Brown finally, Devin's been asking for him all year, and in the last 3 games, he's really, really shown that this kid is scary. I'm not suggesting, I'd like to see if he's RB1. I don't know. He's a great filler right now.
no.
Joe Mixon has a touchdown in like 5 straight games.
No. I'm not. No. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase my comment. I don't know. I'm not suggesting RB1 on this team right now and replacing Joe, because Mixon has been amazing. I'm just saying, I don't know, looking in the future, if he is a running back one type of style. He's a great compliment. I just don't know if he's
we have
every day back is what I meant.
He's got to learn to block.
Oh.
He's got to learn to block.
His pass blocking is terrible. So, and that's what's kept him out of the lineup on all 3 downs. But we have a great 1-2 punch. And Mixon has shown that he's a team-friendly guy. Chase is on a rookie deal. There's no reason why we can't keep these guys for the next few years going forward, as long as they keep playing like they're playing. So
Jake and I were having this conversation the other day. We were curious about next year, looking ahead to next year. And if I remember correctly, Mixon's contract is very similar next year to this year. So there's no reason to think that it's not a 1-2-man backfield, a 2-man backfield with a 1-2 punch next year too.
Yeah, and remember the thing we figured out. Joe Mixon is one of 2 players that has been on he's one of 2 running backs since 2017 that has had a starter's body of work, not missed a year, and been on the same team. It's him and Derrick Henry.
And Kamara, it was 3.
And Kamara as well, who was rookie in 2017.
And everybody was calling bloody murder when we drafted him after everything that happened at Oklahoma with him. And he's
but it had nothing to do with on-field production.
I was doing
a first-round pick if he didn't get popped for that.
I was doing the other show on the AFC Northerners when we drafted him. He was one of my predictions because the Bengal fan base was clamoring for Mixon in the 2nd round. They wanted him. This was something he did in his freshman year, and they wanted him. He was a bargain in the 2nd round, and that's exactly where we drafted him. So it was nobody was upset about Mixon's drafting. He actually the fan base wanted him badly that year. I do.
Yep.
So I'm going to mention 2 names, and then that's the last negative I have, because everything else I have is positive, and that's Fearmouth and Watt. I'm fearing we got to figure out a way to not make Fearmouth look like the Kevin Winslow, and I'm talking about the dad, Fearmouth, whatever. I'm telling you.
I didn't know you were talking about.
Okay, and TJ Watt, I really worry about the cheap shot from him. I really do. We cannot afford to lose a key person because TJ Watt decided to when thinking nobody's watching, doing something. I'm always concerned. I think he's a dirty player. That's just me.
Oh, he's very dirty. We've talked about it. What I like is TJ Watt is going to be lined up against Jonah. Watt plays on the left. Well, you call it the left when it's the defensive left and the offensive right. I don't know. But Watt's going to be lined up against Jonah, and Jonah knows him. TJ knows him, and that'll be a fun little battle to watch, and hopefully Jonah can hold his own and, not allow TJ to do what he does.
Yeah.
But to Jake's point, with the heavy set, you're going to get a tight end over there to chip too. So, I feel a little more comfortable instead of leaving him on an island by himself the whole time.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it's Jonah versus TJ all day. They'll have some tight end help on that side. But again, it's look, I've every time we play Pittsburgh the last 2 years since I've been on the show, I've mentioned Alex Highsmith. I think he's the most underrated edge rusher in the league. He's as good as he gets when when you take out the Bosas, the Watts, the Chase Youngs, like he's in that second tier.
The
He's
Hendricksons,
what's that?
the Hendrickson, you forget.
Hendricks, yeah, Trey.
He's wide in that group, so
Yeah, no, the Highsmith is in that group as well. He'll be on the left side, probably turning Orlando Brown into a turnstile for 60 minutes.
Mark, you bring up Hendrickson, and a lot of times we get in rhythm like this, you get in the habit of when somebody's consistent and doing the same thing every week, whether it's really good, really bad, you don't really talk about it. He's not going to even be in the top 3 of defensive player of the year. And it's more than just stats. But when you break down the stats, I saw something the other day when you line him up against TJ Watt in just stats. I'm talking about QB pressures, QB hits, and sacks. Those 3 stats. Trey Hendrickson is better than TJ Watt the last 3 years. I mean, he has just been absolutely phenomenal.
And he's got 15 sacks on the year. Riley and I looked it up earlier today.
Yeah.
yeah. No, he's one of our best. DJ Reader and Hendrickson, probably our 2 best free agent signings in the last 20 years. I mean, yeah, it's hard to think of better ones. What are you seeing on your screen there?
Jake just pulled it up. Trey Hendrickson is 12th in odds on defensive player of the year. TJ Watt is 3rd.
Yeah. So TJ Watt on name gets away with a lot of stuff. I really believe that. So
yeah. And look, he's great.
I don't question the guy's motor and the guy's drive. It's just, when the play's over and he throws Burrow to the ground just to throw Burrow to the ground. I mean, that's the kind
It
of
was more than just throwing him to the ground.
Like I
He
said,
hit him.
that's why that was on my list. That's a concern for me every time it is.
Talking about last year, or do you talk about
No, last game. We talked about this during there. You
Well,
reserved your comment.
Burrow didn't play against Pitt.
Brown, but you said Browning. Browning got hit on that play. You reserved judgment.
No, I was talking about last year.
That's what I thought. I know the one you're talking about, Mark. It was a shove after the play from behind, right?
He had his hands on him. Burrow got intercepted, if I believe. And as soon as he thought he could, he just grabbed Burrow to the ground, who was making no attempt to block him, and just last year.
But
what was that for? I mean,
he had a cheap hit on Browning the first game too. Devin had some comments during the show.
Well,
I don't think it was on Browning. He throat karate chopped somebody's throat. I want to say it was T. Higgins on a little underneath pass.
It was down on the it was down near the goal line. It was down near the goal line, and you had some comments. You reserved judgment.
Oh, I know where we're going with that. Yeah.
Well,
he had a cheap hit on Browning after the play.
Let's transition that into, so we last played them. That was Browning's first game. Zach was trying to squeeze Browning into the Burrow scheme. It didn't work. And with all that and Browning's first game, we only lost 16-10. Okay. The last 3 weeks, the Steelers have looked putrid. Okay. Browning has 3 more games under his belt. He's put up 34, 27. I mean, has that been the point totals over the last 3 games?
Yeah, I think what I saw, the Steelers were the first team in NFL history, weeks 13 or later, to have a winning record and lose to teams with a 30% or less winning percentage. They lost to Arizona and the Patriots in back-to-back weeks, something crazy like that. They were the first team
at home.
And what, 10 weeks into the season, they were the only team with a winning record, X number of weeks into the season to be outgained in their first 6, 7, 8 game. I mean, they're a joke. They're smoke and mirrors, and I just want to punch them in the mouth.
Now, but with that said, we know they're the Steelers. We know they get up for this game, but I'm with you on what you said earlier. I think if we step on this team, this is a house of cards. And if we step on them early, whether it's offensively or defensively, you can get those wide receivers frustrated, and this team just packs it in. I mean, they do exactly what they did in this. They had a 13-point lead against the Colts, who we manhandled them, and then proceeded to not score again, not even smell the other side of the field for most of the game.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, you know who I wish was playing Saturday? I wish Cam Taylor-Britt was playing because he would
Yeah.
he would draw a personal foul call from somebody.
Yeah.
He'd get him going. What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on IR. He's one more week.
He's not. He can't act. We haven't activated him yet.
Well,
He'll
he's
be
got to
back
sit.
for the
He can't
season.
be activated till next week.
Yeah, he's 4 weeks.
So yeah, maybe one of the young guys, maybe Battle or one of the Wiley vets.
I could see JB3 if we're numbering them numerically. I could see Battle getting into Pickens or Dante Johnson.
Okay, JB3 is Jesse Bates.
Yeah, that's Jesse Bates. You can't.
All right,
go
so we gotta. So we're just gonna go with Battle. Battle's a cool name anyway.
Absolutely.
So let's just go with
How about
Battle.
Mike Hilton getting in on somebody?
Oh, absolutely. In
Battle's really good.
another return to Pittsburgh.
Want to throw that out there again? How good Jordan Battle is.
Yeah,
as a rookie.
Yeah, no, he's been.
Well, if we're going to talk about Jordan Battle, we got to talk about
Turner
too. I mean, we went from, and I give Devin credit every show when he's not on here about Dax Hill, but I mean, we are loaded in that back there with some youngsters.
Well, yeah, we
It's
definitely.
interesting how it worked out like that, Heath. It's like they planned for it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like,
Wonder what you'll be saying next year about Miles Murphy because he sucks.
I never said that. I just said I would like to watch. I mean, you got to see some plays from him. He's going to be a first-round draft pick. All I asked is that he get some time. That's all I said. I didn't say he sucked.
I don't think you said anything there. Every time he's on the field, he produces.
He's gotten his playing
He
time.
wasn't on the field much earlier this season,
That's
Devin.
not his fault.
I understand. I just asked for some plays.
We transition back to Murphy. I'm gonna throw this out there. This is more of a you question. Sam Hubbard's an edge guy, but he's more of a run stopper. Can we play Miles Murphy more on the end and push Hubbard into the middle? Does that work? Is that something that we could do?
Hubbard's too small.
I don't think he's got this. I was just about to say the same thing. I don't think he has the size to do it.
Yeah. So, and he does a good job holding down the corner there. So
he does.
Yeah. And we've seen without Hubbard how much our run defense suffers.
Yeah.
Granted, that was with Reeder still in the game, but we've seen without Hubbard on the couple games he missed how much more yardage would give up on the ground. So let's talk about something else that's very positive that I feel good about, and that's Mason Rudolph. Okay, there's nothing there that now. I said the same thing about Minnesota's quarterback last week because he was a journeyman that hadn't put up anything in a few years, and he kind of had a decent game. But Mason's never done anything spectacular that scares a defense.
Other than fight Myles Garrett, that was pretty spectacular.
That was one of the epic moments in sports when Myles Garrett grabbed that helmet and smacked him upside the head with it. But still, and I'm not endorsing that behavior, by the way, but that's still a moment that we'll never forget. But other than that, I can't think of anything that scares me about Mason Rudolph.
He's the same as Trubisky.
He's worse. He's probably worse than
we
Trubisky.
could bait more turnovers out of Trubisky. But what are Mason's Rudolph's turnover numbers? Because I have a feeling
he hasn't played in like 2 years.
Yeah, but total, I think he's like 10 interceptions, 5 fumbles or something. But I don't know how many games that was in, so I don't have.
I don't think he's even taken a snap this year.
No, this year, no, he hasn't taken a snap this year.
Yeah, he's thrown 2 passes this year. Let's pull up more historical
stats.
Where?
Up top.
That's what. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, he hasn't.
Last year, or excuse me, he's thrown 60 passes in the last 3 years.
Right.
In 2019, when he was a regular, he threw 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. On his career, he's got 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 61% completion percentage, sacked 17 times in 18 games. He's a third-string quarterback.
Right. So, so that's a big positive for us. I got to think, the Hendricksons getting in there and wreaking some havoc on him, especially after having, and it's questionable now whether or not Hendrickson was offsides last week on that Pratt pick. So you look at it and it's one of those, you shake your head and it is what it is, but penalties. But
hey, some teams have those penalties go against you and lose the game. Some teams have those penalties go against you and come back and win the game.
Right. We don't sit there and cry
like
about
that, Chiefs fans. We'll see you next week.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that's why I'm not.
Still are the defending Super Bowl champions, right, Jake?
I'm not opposed to. What was somebody put out a tweet about Tony saying, well, he didn't catch the ball last week because the rest didn't tell him to catch the ball. Like, so it's just, this stuff's going to just live on forever with that guy. I'm still wondering, the Chiefs don't want to admit they were wrong. I'm still wondering why that guy's getting starts. There's got to be somebody on the practice squad, that's hungrier and has better hands than Tony. So
There's all kinds of problems in Kansas City.
yeah, but we'll get to that on our preview of the
That's
Chiefs.
for next week.
That's right. So, so that's Mason Rudolph. I'm feeling good about, and like I said, Browning has 3 more starts under his belt, and Zach's been doing much better job scheming. So this is a night and day from what they saw 4 weeks ago when they played us.
When you say much better, I have to even correct you, Mark. He's been phenomenal.
Right.
And we've been really hard on him, including myself and Jake, burying the guy as best we could. But I will tell you, quarterbacks have to be quarterbacks this week. Wide receivers don't get to play quarterback. That has not worked yet. And it's almost cost us both times in a massive, massive way.
Right.
Wait, you don't like your third string tight end throwing a swing pass on
Well,
third?
by the way, that tight end did play. He did. I think Riley said he played
quarterback
in high school.
Yes.
So he's like you throw, but still, I mean, come on.
Well,
in the red zone,
he's not a kid. He's 30 years old. He's 12 years removed from high school.
Right.
Oh, I did not realize that.
Tanner Hudson's not a kid. He's been in the league for 5 years.
But
He's
thrown the ball, and he didn't. If memory serves, he ate the ball because
he did.
They
picked up Jamar well on the play. He didn't throw it.
And he didn't throw it. Unlike Boyd, who tried to loop it over and threw it right to Josh Allen. So, like I said, he had the sight to say, you know what? Let's lose 3 yards to play another down and not force the ball in. So,
yeah. I got one interesting matchup. We've talked a lot about our defensive line. We gave Trey Hendrickson his props. Broderick Jones does a great job on the line for them. He's back. He's healthy. Well, I don't know about back. He's healthy. He was limited yesterday, full today. Does he play left or right? Is it Trey against? Oh, so it's not Trey again. Okay. So it'll be Murphy against Broderick Jones. Okay. I was going to say that'd be an interesting matchup if it's Jones against Hendrickson, but who's our left tackle? Do you know off the top of your head? Sorry to put you on the spot. I'm curious.
It's Dan Moore.
Who's Dan Moore?
Their left tackle.
Thank you.
I knew that answer was coming. I was waiting for it.
Classic. All right.
He's awful.
Oh, these two.
There's my key to watch. There's my key to watch. You got TJ Watt against Jonah, and like we said, a little tight end help, and then Hendrickson against Jake's friend Dan Moore.
There you go. I like Hendrickson this week. So, and I'm not starting. I have Highsmith, so I know all about him he's one of my individual defensive guys, but I'm not going to start him this week because I don't want to root for the points. And I'm in the divisional playoffs in my fantasy. So I'm trying to get to the Super Bowl. So we'll see.
All right, let's talk about the
Jake, you want to give out a pick, or do we want to do predictions? Where do we want to go from here?
I've got 2 this week.
No, boy.
Go for it. Let's hear them.
All right. So since college football season ended, I've been doing NFL on this show. Both games have been Cowboys games. We're sticking with that. We are going back to the Cowboys +1 against the Dolphins. I guess people are calling this the frauds game, the battle of the frauds, because Dallas went on the road and lost to a Buffalo team that might be the best team in the AFC outside of Baltimore. Don't know. They have been bad on the road this year, but I think the trend of Miami being bad against good teams is more important. So I'm taking Dallas +1. Dak and company get back on track, and we are going to take Baltimore. We're getting almost touchdown +5.5. I think the love for San Fran's gotten pretty out of control with like McCaffrey getting this MVP love,
which he deserves.
Arizona averaged 8 yards a carry against this Niners team last week. Baltimore is going to run down their throats, keep it close, low scoring. In a game where 24 might win, I'm getting almost full touchdown. So give me Baltimore +5.5 on the road in San Fran, and then Dallas +1 against Miami.
And Jake, you know what I'm going to do.
Tease that shit.
12.5.
Okay. So
which way do you tease it?
Tease it. Tease
down
them
or up?
Tease them both.
Up.
You're gonna tease it both ways?
So no, I'm saying tease them both. Put them together on
Oh,
the teaser.
But which way are you
Teaser.
teasing Baltimore
He's
down?
gonna tease him up to get a
Are you gonna tease
small
Baltimore to 13 or tease San
Yes, I'm going
Francisco
to tease
down to even?
Baltimore to 13.
Okay, because I
I
don't know
feel
if you're
pretty
gonna tease
good
San
about that
Francisco to even.
defense. Harbaugh's coaching in that game in prime time on Christmas Day or Christmas night. I feel really good about Baltimore in 12 and a half. They can still lose the game. I can still root against Baltimore and still win my bet. That's what I love about a bet like that.
There you go.
That's a double winner there. Come on. So, all right. Uh anybody and what about the over under in our game?
It's
That's
way too high. 36 and a half, which means they think it's a 20-17 game. I, I, I'm going to wait till my prediction, but that's too high.
right.
Or, so
Okay.
you want me to go into predictions?
Sure. You segue right into it. So let's hear it.
Yeah. So, and that's in fact what I was going to say. The over under has basically the Bengals winning 20-17, give or take. That's too high. I think it's a close game. I don't think we get a runaway win. I hope we get the punch in the mouth that we talked about and control. I had to think long and hard about which jersey to wear today. I went with the McPherson. I think we get a late kick. I think we're up 17-16. And I think we do get a field goal late to put it up 2016 and put it out of reach 2016 Bengals.
So you're literally a half point under. You're calling the under. But you're saying it's too high by a half point.
That's way too high.
Okay. All right.
First to 17 wins. The 20 is just icing on the cake.
So I think we do get that knockout punch. I think without two safeties, I think we control the ball. I've got us, but I still have us just over. I've got us for a 27-11 game is what I've got. And I'm giving them, they're going to get a field goal right off the bat. And then later on, they'll get a junk TD and go for 2 points. That's it. That's how I get them to 11. But I think we control the game without the two safeties. I think we scheme up something where we run. Charlie Jones just missed a really long connection last week. Don't be surprised if he hits one this week.
I heard something interesting on him, Mark. He was only in, let me get it right. He only ran routes on 4 plays. He was targeted on 3 of them. So that tells me that he wasn't in a ton, but they're running stuff for him, and that's a really, really good observation. I like that. It could be a home run this week.
What I don't understand though is Josevich. I mean, he's every time he sees the ball well thrown, he's making plays. I don't know why he's not seeing more. We'll see this week if he gets more of the touches.
No, listen, with Chase out of the game, and I'm happy to rest Chase this week and have him for Kansas City. If there's a chance he's ready for Kansas City, you don't play him this week. We can win this game without him this week. So
I'm actually kind of surprised.
I don't know if I go that far, Mark. I think if he's able to, like, he hasn't been ruled out yet.
No, but I don't know.
If he can go, he's going to go because we have to win this game.
We absolutely do.
Keep in mind when you're talking playoff scenarios and this and that. Yeah, they could win in Kansas City, but realistically, the mindset, of course, the mindset is to win all 3 games, yada, yada, yada. We have to beat Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
Yes.
Bottom line. So I think if he can go, he'll go.
I'm a little surprised that, they haven't put him in a straitjacket. I mean, you have to respect him enough. He's not going to be making over-the-shoulder catches with a straight jacket on, but he'll still, you could still target him and still pull receivers away. So, I mean, D-backs, I'm a little surprised that he doesn't try to just go, even 60%, 50%.
But he injured his shoulder. And if he
separated shoulder, I understand. He popped it back in and, it's painful as hell.
And if he takes a shot and falls to the ground on that shoulder, it's not going to take a lot. All you got to do is fall on that shoulder and he could have a setback.
That's why you got the straight jacket.
Joey Porter would take a 15-yard penalty and an ejection out and ruin the season.
He's
not playing if he can't.
You saw them try to take Pittman out last week. That's Steeler football. So if other teams do it, it's dirty. But for them, it's Steeler football. So we've seen that. So like I said, I'm not opposed, if need be, him resting this week. So, but he does bring the decoy element, pulling the defense away, and it opens things up for everybody else. So let's see what happens. All right, Jake, we didn't get your Heath. You're not going to do a prediction, right? There you go. Our non-gambler. So That way the non-gamblers are represented on the show. So
I'm
it's
gonna start calling Heath Kirk Herb Street.
there you go.
No pick.
No pick Kirk.
Go ahead. All right, what do we got, Jake?
I will I'll put a knife in the fun. It's my much as we hate the Steelers, love Tomlin. So this is a rah-rah Tomlin game. Sorry. Like this is what the Steelers do. Like it doesn't matter how bad they look. They've put in the towel. They're up for it. Tomlin as a dog off a loss at home is as good as it gets. So I think the fact that the Bengals are favored in this game is arguably wrong. 2017 Pittsburgh, no DJ Reader, no Jamar. Those are the two most important players on the team. Like that's sorry.
All right.
We don't have enough to overcome that. Hopefully I'm wrong.
I
But
hope you're wrong too.
yeah, I'm on Pittsburgh this week.
Listen, we ask for honest opinions. If you want smoke blown up your you know what, go to another show. We're going to give you what we think. It's that simple.
I think Mark said that every time I've picked against the Bengals this year on the show. You said that exact line. You can go to a different show.
Yeah, listen,
we get comments that we should be homers.
Yeah.
We're not getting paychecks from the Bengals. We're Bengal fans. I've been a Bengal fan since the beginning. We're all diehard Bengal fans, but we're real. And when we thought we were going to lose, we've said it. I think I picked against them against Baltimore. So I don't recall, but I know I picked up against them a couple times this year. So you know, we're going to be real, but that doesn't mean we don't love our Bengals and we're not rooting for them. So I respect your opinion. And I always say when I pick against them, what do I always say? I'd love to be wrong. Make me wrong. It's that simple. And I know that's how you feel. So all good. All right, Jake, remind them where they can find your stuff.
Yep, Jake Circus Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube. Also follow me on Twitter at Jake Circus.
There you go. We will be back right after the game on Saturday with the recap. We'll have the Devin and Jake and Heath and Riley. I think you'll be joining us from Vegas because you're going to see Arizona play in Las Vegas.
Yep.
College basketball.
Yep, we'll try to make it.
All right. So
we're going to see Arizona tonight.
And there goes. So there you go.
Tear down and hooday.
That's it. So please subscribe. If you don't subscribe, hit the bell so you get the alerts and hit the thumbs up. Help us out with the YouTube analytics. And I'm going to say, hooday, everybody. We'll see you after.
Hooday.
Hooday.
Hooday.